Hello and welcome to They Are Billions 28 Years Later custom campaign. It's a let's play of the series with me, Podmaestro. I'm the author of these maps. We won't be playing these Chinese versions. This is something I've been working on the last month with two excellent translators. It's to make the Chinese and Spanish versions. You can actually combine the languages into one map, but because these maps are quite old now, I wanted to get maximum effect, get them as new maps. Hopefully future maps have translations all out at the same time. But we're going to be playing the English version. 28 years later, Phase 1, One Foot in the Grave. 28 years have passed since a phenomenon known as the Tempest engulfed the world. Citizens around the globe were taking part in huge organised protests when something caused them to violently attack each other. This spread until billions were infected with the blight, leaving only small pockets of civilization. Now, a generation later, the remaining population are looking to take back their homeland piece by piece, maybe learn something more about the cause of the Tempest on the way. Well, the music, didn't it? So this is going to be a director's cut, kind of a commentary more of the series as we go. So I'm going to be giving sort of insights into the names, the design decisions, and references things. So and secrets that you might not know about. So starting with the map name, One Foot in the Grave was a sort of a British sitcom comedy from maybe 15-20 years ago. It kind of means you're halfway dead, you're halfway into the grave, having one foot. In this case, it means getting a foothold onto the British mainland, which is of course infected with the Tempest, which is the name of the infection in this custom campaign. So we begin with just one sniper. So 28 years later, thank you for downloading the 28 years later custom campaign. You're welcome. Good to be here. This first map is a short introduction to the initial characters and the story. Things get spicier map after map. I hope you enjoy the ride. Podmaestro, yeah, that's me. Woo. Okay, well I hope you enjoy it. Let's begin. Okay, 8 days since the autumn equinox 2047. So yeah, this date is actually the 31st of September, which is actually a date I picked because it's 6 months after the original date of when the UK was supposed to leave the EU. So it's 28 years and 6 months since that date. At the time of recording, that hasn't happened yet. But it was that event, Brexit and other events around the world, which you probably heard of things around the world, which kind of inspired the protests, which kind of feature at the beginning of the Tempest. But we're 28 years later, and the last remaining safe haven in the region is Kirkwall, once the capital of the Orkney Islands to the north of mainland Scotland. After a generation of hiding, and with overpopulation threatening its sustainability, Kirkwall is to take a foothold on the shores of northern Scotland. The coast looks clear, so a landing party establishes a command centre at the beachhead. But 3 harpies suddenly storm the area and wipe them out, except for one scout who sees it unfolding from afar and manages to escape. The scout comes across 2 separated, isolated sniper hunters, Mackenzie and McCracken, but both choose not to help the stranger. So the scout explores further, eluding the herd of infected along the main road. But along the river, a group of infected in suits ambush the scout, who trips in the panic, gets up and runs, but not before he's bitten on his neck. He stumbles along the river and finds you, Macaulay. A feeling you can't describe urges you to help his cause. This pries a smile on the dying scout's draining face, but he tells you of the 3 harpies that stand on the only bridge to the abandoned command centre. To get past, you must unite all 3 sniper hunters and work together to take down the harpies. The safest route would be to travel north alongside the river to find Mackenzie, then follow the disused power lines southeast to McCracken. Then take the open fields back north. Your stash of gold might help persuade them to join you in the new world. With his final message seemingly delivered, the scout mutters a few last dying words. I saw, from afar, others alive, making no. Objective summary. Head north along the river to find Mackenzie. Follow the power lines southeast to McCracken. And then as a trio head north through the old fields and then west to take out the harpies. Then reactivate the command center. If any sniper is killed, the mission will fail. There's then just some tips. Avoid the main road, it's heavily numbered with infected, you're heavily outnumbered, so avoid engaging where possible. Know when to withdraw. And as this is like the first map of a campaign, I thought I'd add in basic tips like left click to select a unit and right click to move or attack. So we start with Macaulay, a fearless nomad who has survived in the wilderness by himself for 28 years. There's the scout who came and found him. This is Macaulay's hideout with his truck and his gold stash. It's quite important you collect it. I've even written a custom description, your stash of gold. This will come in handy persuading the Piracard people to join your cause to rebuild a civilized world. And if you don't collect it, there's a little warning here. Don't forget to collect your gold stash on the way out. It might come in handy later. The legendary YouTuber I'm Kibitz, however you say it. Apologies if I got that wrong. But he's great, very entertaining person on YouTube who uploads billions, and he, as well as other games, but he did play this custom campaign, which was a lot of fun to watch, obviously. And he didn't collect this gold at the start for some reason, and because your decisions throughout the maps affect the last map, this is one thing that makes your life a lot harder if you don't collect it. So we're going to collect it, and there's 3 difficulties on the last map, and Kibitz played the most hardest difficulty, and it got even harder because of that decision right at the start. So apologies to those who didn't collect it, and I felt very bad watching him struggle on that last map, so apologies for that. But anyway, we shall continue, and you look across the water. No matter how many I kill, the infected keep coming back. At least the water here is crystal clear. This river has kept me clean, quenched my thirst, and has brought me lovely salmon for nearly 3 decades. Not that I can remember much detail though. One day seems to drift into another. So there's a bit of backstory here, explaining how he survived, but also some mystery here. Can't remember much. There's also there's how you read this kind of changes if you're watching this or playing this for the first time, and so I hope you play it for yourself. Thanks very much for listening to me drone on about things. I do talk a lot, I apologise. But if you're watching this having played it for yourself already, then you'll read things differently, as I kind of like to add in a replayability factor. So there's things in here which maybe you go, oh. There's other subtle things which kind of, if you didn't play, I'm planning a sequel 29 years later, which is I've started planning for, which will be out sort of later in 2019. Then you'll see things in another different light. I'll try and drop some subtle hints as we go, without making it too obvious, but kind of little things. In the introduction, it said something urged you to help the scout. So those things, there's things in here which are pointing already to a sequel. So which the maps aren't out yet, but little teasers as we go. So there's things in here for everybody. So it said the infected keep coming back. That's kind of a hint not to spend too long shooting these infected, because it's a waste of time, to be honest. Although I did have it initially that you weren't a veteran, started at 0% experience, and you kind of had to kill zombies to level up, which is quite nice. It's quite cool. But it was really made it even more tedious. I appreciate this isn't the most interesting map, but having played 150 hours or so of survival, you play it zoomed out a lot, you have a base, and I just wanted to start it differently. Slow the pace down, have you zoomed in like this. You can see there's lots of lovely detail. I love the graphical style of a sort of a top-down 2D game like this. Really nice detail, so I wanted people to just kind of have a nice introduction to the story. I did actually have some music playing as you made this walk. But when it was first released, there was a sort of a sound bug, so for a lot of players, including myself, it was fine, but some players, they custom sounds played at maximum volume, and there was no way at all in the menus or anywhere to turn the sound down, so it was completely unplayable. So apologies to people that happened. So the sound I had to remove. Obviously there was music in the introduction, that bug is now fixed. But I decided just to have the music for the introduction menu. It's a bit quiet, it's kind of the Lonely Walk. I took out some infected, I thinned it out a bit to make it a bit less tedious, to make up for not having the music. But anyway, I've actually, I'm talking so much, there's a little nice walking horde towards me. There's a little secret note here, which most people will miss, including myself, even though I wrote it. Anyway, you find a note tucked away. There's a piece of paper that looks fairly recent. There is fresh mud all over it, which does unfortunately cover up most of the writing. However, the last word is only partially covered, and you can just read temp, which you can probably deduce that it says Tempest. But why is it a fresh note? Kind of this infection is 28 years old, and most of them are walking. There's a fresh group of suited people there, so it's strange. We're gonna keep following the river up though, as the scout said, and there, sure enough, is the first sniper hunter, Mackenzie. Hello, brother. As much as I'd love to do accents, I'm rubbish, so apologies. One of the people who played these maps, KentCTV, he's one of the best players in the world. He plays no pause, 800%, no reroll, so he just plays every map as it comes. He's got a win streak of 7, which is just hugely impressive. He actually kindly played these maps, and when he was reading this text out, I thought he was really good. And Kenzie, if you're watching, if you fancy some unpaid work as a voice actor, drop me a message, and I've got some work for you. But for now, you'll have to make do with me reading. So Mackenzie says, "It is no coincidence that you come and see me so soon after the outsider. I thought not. Very well. His presence has already brought the infected onto my hideout, so I may as well come with you. We should follow the pylons all the way down to see McCracken. We'll have to cross the road, which has become swamped with the infected recently, but I set an explosive trap there a while ago, which will help clear the way. I have a feeling you're going to like what I've got lined up, brother." So the brother bit was actually inspired by a character in the TV series Lost, which must have finished over a decade ago now. The TV series Lost, where they are on an island. There was a character called Desmond in the second or third series who said brother after everything, and I loved it, so I was like, I'm using that. And again, Kibitz, who I mentioned earlier, he says brother quite a lot, so here's a little tribute to him as well. So Mackenzie joins.
Alright.
So we'll follow these pylons down. There is a route up there, but I don't recommend going that way because it's a lot more effective. So if you follow the text, you'll find your life's a lot easier. Which is why I felt the need to translate the maps to Chinese because and Spanish, because the developers are Spanish. You've probably seen on the workshop, Chinese maps are very, very popular. I think they make up probably 50% of the player base, so without being able to read the English, you will struggle with this campaign. So it's nice to be able to have some really good translators to do it properly. So this sequence of the pylons, using them, is kind of I got the idea from the survival sim DayZ, which is obviously quite infamous for its early access nature. I kind of gave early access a bad name, which some people kind of see with They Are Billions. I kind of disagree. I think it's very, very playable, very enjoyable. Obviously, I've made this whole campaign while it's in early access, done a lot with it. There's so much more to come. It's such a good game. But yeah, this pylon bit, kind of in DayZ, there's pylons which me and a friend used to use as kind of waypoints to find our way through the map. So it's quite nice to include it here. Especially as pylons and trucks are the only decorations in the game. So yeah. Anyway, looking forward to there being a lot more assets in the future. But here we are, brother. My explosive trap is up ahead, brother. There never used to be this many infected on the road, so I'm glad I set it up when I did. Now, shoot one of the barrels to see some fireworks, and clear our way across the road, brother. So I had to get fireworks in there this early on, because as well as making maps in the evenings and working another job, I fit in my own business that does firework displays. So I love fireworks, so had to get him in. I love explosions. So there's tips here on how to destroy them. I'm just going to walk forward here just to show you something. So this road, which is so busy, isn't actually all that busy. I'll explain why in a second. So we're just going to destroy this and enjoy this. Boom. I love that. That never gets old. But yeah, so the road is maybe a little bit more sparse than if you actually look up. It's a lot more busy north and south. So this bit I had to make quite sparse after testing it. When it was really busy, it was actually really hard to select the barrels, the explosive barrels, because the infected tend to wander, which makes making maps really hard. Because you can see the harpies all start together and now they're wandering. It makes it really hard to make these hero style maps because yeah, they like to wander, and in that case you couldn't target the barrels and it got really annoying. So my hope is that people don't really wander that far and say, hey, it's not actually that busy, but I've told you now. So did you know these pylons used to supply power to the nearby Doomray Materials test reactor, not the other way around, brother? They did all sorts of tests there, but that was for nuclear weapons development. That's a true story. I didn't see everything that went on when I worked there, but I doubt the Tempest originated there, as it spread from the far south rather than the west. Sorry if you knew that already, brother. We haven't talked in years, so I can't remember. Let's keep following the pylons down to McCracken. So, yeah, Mackenzie's named after someone I know that works at a nuclear power station. This Doomray reactor was used to develop uranium for nuclear weapons. I kind of wanted to include it as a bit more lore, backstory, because I like the name Doomray. Sounds like something pretty evil. I did want to do a bit of a side mission there, but as I sort of said, one downside to this being an early access is there's not a lot of assets, and I couldn't really do it justice. So apologies if I'm not very good at playing this. I've not really played the game properly for 4 months now, having been making these maps. So I've done lots of testing, but playing in the Billions, I'm not the best player. I'll do my best not to die. Alright. There's a little tribute here to my favourite artist, Avicii, who sadly passed away far too young. Hey brother. Just a little tribute there. There are a lot of infected to the southwest, brother. We need to head southeast, so to avoid triggering ahead, we should avoid shooting the infected unless absolutely necessary. If we get chased, keep moving southeast and take them out once we reach a quieter area. So you can shoot these infected, but you might got away with that. But because the noise, there's a lot of runners here. They have a habit of, there they go. They just keep coming and coming and coming. So there's a little prompt there to say, don't spend too long. Obviously we're outnumbered. This map's full of infected. We're only a few snipers. So yes, the last one, McCracken. Followed the pylons as instructed. A number of players. It's hard when making these maps. I know the maps off by heart, obviously, and it can be hard to know how players will play your map, basically. So I try and include a lot of direction, but people still get lost. So this is how you should play it. Oh dear, we've just triggered ahead there. Bit of urgency now. We need to get McCracken. Yo, what you playing at? This guy McCracken, I tried to make him a bit more interesting. Add a bit of a different dialect, which is very hard for especially my Chinese translator, because it's not exactly a standard English speech. But should have known it was you making all that noise. Great. Now there's a herd on its way, no doubt. Thanks. Well, I'll join you now, but it'll cost you. You know I like my gold. I'm sure it'll come in handy one day, especially if Kirkwall are coming over. Now, let's move up across the old fields and kill those damn harpies before the herd of infected gets here. I told you my accent's terrible. I think I went a bit American. Until we clear the pylons, only shoot what's right up in front of your face. If there are runners behind us, keep moving to a more quiet, secluded area before dealing with them. Don't worry, they won't catch us. Now, let's move up, but don't go back to the main road. Keep the trees to our right, and the whole time we will go through the quieter fields. So, the people I watched play this map later on, Kenzie that I mentioned earlier, and Deadly Optics, another one. One of the they're the world's greatest players. They went the wrong way, so they you're supposed to keep the trees to your right and go through the old fields to the north. Don't go back to the main road. They managed to go back to the main road. I think one went along the main road, which took forever, and another went that way. So
Your sniper.
yeah, you find it a lot easier if you go for the north fields here. Which I can understand that the harpies are up there. You think, oh, that's the quickest route.
Units under attack.
It's a nice day to die.
But appreciate there's a lot of text, and I think people have a habit of skipping it or forgetting bits, which is completely understandable.
That's a set and kill.
And we're gonna head up to the north
Let's
fields now.
go.
So yeah,
Last
McCracken,
night I dreamt of brains
deck collector
exploding.
before the Tempest. Now he collects kills. He was
I
sort of
need to
inspired
kill
by a
something.
British TV series called
It's a
Can't Pay
nice day
Take It
to
Away,
die.
which follows deck collectors. And there's a
Let's
person
go.
on there called McCracken. I just thought that's a cool name, McCracken. So I had to include him as one of the 3 snipers. Explained
Yes,
Mackenzie,
tell me what to kill.
who worked at the Dune reactors, what he did there. He never said.
Pushing a bullet through some brains.
Macaulay is named after, funnily enough, a guy
That's a set and kill.
back in May. So it shows how long ago I was sort of
You read my mind.
planning the early details of this map. May 2018. So sort of 6-7 months before these
Bullseye.
maps were released. I had a night out in Birmingham, which is sort of in the middle of Midlands of England.
Slow, but lethal.
We had a night out there, and this guy
Let's
obviously maybe didn't have any friends. I don't know, but
To the death.
he decided to join our group.
Die.
Our night out. We had 2 nights out, in fact. We saw him both nights. He actually didn't really like me because I didn't have a beard.
Sentence.
He's a bit weird, but
Nice target.
Macaulay. I quite like the name
My
Macaulay.
rifle
His
is
name
ready.
actually has a W in it, Macaulay, but
So many
Macaulay in
targets,
this has a
gotta
U,
love it.
which is the more sort of the Scottish
Slow, but lethal.
spelling of it. So there you go. That's the history of the
Roger
names.
that.
In case you're not interested.
Yeah.
You know now. So gold. I miss gold. These fields used to bring in loads of gold. I had the pleasure of collecting it. Gold that is, not the crops. Pah. Maybe we'll see a return of those golden days. I can't really remember much else.
Our forces are in danger.
So
All right.
let's keep heading through the old fields to the
Bullseye.
north.
It's a nice day to die. Nice target.
Nice bit of
Roger
ambience.
that.
Our
Are you
soldiers
reading
are
my
in trouble.
mind?
So yeah, I appreciate this isn't the most of interesting maps. It's the first map I ever made. Really appreciate
Good day to kill.
people getting through this map.
Nice
It
target.
sets up the story, bit of world
Yeah.
building, and appreciate people
Slow. but
continuing
lethal.
playing the maps, enjoying them, commenting, and it ultimately gave me the motivation to keep going. Because I only released, although I spent 6
Alright.
months just here and there writing the story,
Let's go.
kind of I wasn't going to complete the campaign if no one was going to play them.
Nice target.
And people did, so thank you very much everyone who played them. And here we are today. I'm now here playing them myself, explaining it as I go. So you find a note near the truck. Old Thurso Field Report. Monday 30th September 2047. There's a little point I want to make here, which is a little subtle detail. At the start it says 8 days since the autumn equinox, which is as I said before, it's the 31st of September, which is a day before this note was written. These suited people write it in the more modern calendar that we're used to. So I just want to make a little subtle point that these suited people are kind of still keeping modern civilization going on the mainland somehow, whereas the 8 days since the autumn equinox is more of an old kind of old way of tracking the day based on the length of the days. So just a little subtle point there. So Kirkwall broke protocol and established a command centre on the beachhead. We sent in 3 harpies to clear them out, but one scout got away. He won't last long out there on his own, and the sniper hunters won't offer assistance. Maybe our permanent guy in the field will, if only to gain his trust to give us a later advantage. If Kirkwall thinks they can get away with this, then they need reminding of the consequences. I seriously think we need another cull. I must sign off. There was a venom spitter nearby, and me and the guys will be coming back on foot, as our truck isn't going anywhere soon. Long live the Tempest. So, it's a recent note from these suited people.
Death sentence.
So what caused them to be
Tell me
infected
your
so
darkest
recently?
thoughts.
There's a little note there
Let's go.
about another coal.
Bullseye.
If you've played map 6, Tunnel Vision refers to a place. This is actually the place here where you found McCracken. There's a truck, a pylon, and this is kind of represents an entrance to the tunnel. So yeah, it kind of shows that these things were planned out from the start. Most players won't really pick up on this, so I thought I'd point that out. That that's referenced to in map 6.
Your sniper at your service.
So we're nearly there. Going through
Good
these
day to kill.
old fields now.
Are you reading my mind? Yeah.
I did have a lot of early problems. Again, I said about the infected wandering. Yeah, there's a few times it fails because the infected go into the command center before you get there, which is really annoying. There's unfortunately not a lot I can do about that,
Shoot a dad.
Units under attack.
except not have any infected on the map, which would make for a very interesting map. You can set units not to go to the command center, but I've manually placed like hundreds of infected around here so that they don't go to the command center. But I mean, there's thousands of infected, and it just takes one down here that gets aggroed and attacks the command center. It's game over, which is incredibly annoying. I've spent so much time
Yeah.
trying to eliminate it. I think other map makers will feel my pain that you can spend hours and hours and hours testing things, and on the 99th go of playing the map, something goes wrong, and it's frustrating.
That's a
It's
certain
part
kill.
of. You can see why it takes the developer so long to make the game, because I'm just making these maps and I hit difficulties with little things. So imagine building a game from scratch. So anyway, we're reaching the end now. Be on your guard, brother. The harpies are just up ahead, brother. We need to take extra care, as they could shred us to pieces in seconds. I think we are clear of the main herd, so we could try shooting the slow infected to draw them out. That way, they won't get the jump on us, brother. So, saying two, we've already killed one harpy that was drawn by the noise we're making. So, what we're going to do
Are you
is shoot
reading my
the
mind?
quiet infected, and hopefully, see, at this point I didn't have particularly original names, just the harpy one. But later on I named everything, so many things with names that you won't notice. I'll point them out in the later maps. Lots of little detail
Bullseye.
as I went along. So we're going to keep shooting these infected. Hopefully draw out Harpy 3, the last one.
My bullet in the
It's over
head.
here somewhere.
Let's go. Death
Harpies are
sentence.
extremely sensitive to noise, so it's much safer to draw it to us than us go to it. Here it comes.
Shoot a
Let's
dad.
target it. Boom. That's
Like
it.
snake with its
It's the
prey.
Harpies down. We don't need to take down more than we need to. We pick
Yeah.
our fight. Get to the command
You
center.
read my mind.
This is the best I could do for a bridge, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
No bridges in the game just yet. But here we are, the command center.
Slow. but
You notice
lethal.
there's a pile of gold outside, which is actually because earlier in the map I give the player gold so that the gold doesn't reach 0, and then you start losing your units, which gets game over, of course.
My rifle
So
is ready.
I gave too much gold, too generous. But
Who
anyway,
do you want
this
me to
should be
punish?
but that's mission accomplished. Incoming transmission. Congratulations on successfully establishing the beachhead, Commander. That's if you accept the position of Commander, of course. You don't have anyone in our ranks that survived as long as you in the wilderness. Yourself, Mackenzie, and McCracken are already battle veterans, so we'd like to offer each of you your own units in due course. We have no idea where the 3 harpies came from that took out our initial landing party. When we scouted the area but a week ago, the whole area was clear of infected. Now the retaking of the command center has attracted more unwanted attention, and our scouts are seeing movement in the herds all around. Can we count on you to join us for Phase 2 and help lead the defense? Oh yes, please continue. My name is Colonel Garson, by the way. I'm not exactly a war veteran, but I have more strategical awareness than the rest of the grunts on the island. Not that you are a grunt. What I mean is, never mind. I talk too much. Speak to you again soon, Commander. So these character portraits weren't in the game originally. In my maps originally, I added them on the last map, Phase 12, and I sort of decided to painstakingly add them to every conversation. in all the maps, which took a very long time. But I think it adds a bit of extra character to the game. These are actually the mayor portraits that I've repurposed to. Which I took all the pictures myself. I made a map called Mayors, where I just played the same map 100 times to get all the different mayors come up and take their picture. I had to Photoshop the little text which says Mayor Level 3 or whatever. If you look carefully, you can see my bad photoshopping skills, but most people probably won't notice. And then I added the border and the name, so it just adds a bit, which weren't in the, as I said, they weren't there originally. But I think as you'll go through, you'll see the nice polished, finished version. So that's map 1. Thank you very much for watching. Next play is 28 Years Later Phase 2, Seeds of Change. There we are, survived for 8 days, 191 infected, and a high score of 12,000. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.